Welcome to the Speak Your Success podcast. Family, what is going on? This is the Speak Your Success podcast. I'm your host, TEDx speaker, best-selling author Jonathan Jones, and today we have a purposeful episode of the Speak Your Success podcast. I hope everybody has had a great and eventful week thus far. I hope you've been able to be focused. I hope you've been able to be driven and also remain determined within your life. Here at the Speak Your Success podcast, if this is your first time listening, I just want to let you know we seek to do a few things. We seek to motivate you. We seek to empower you, but also giving you tangible instructions to help you grow in your life, not only just in your area of work, not only just in your career field, but throughout all aspects of your life. If this is your first time listening, we welcome you. We're excited that you're here. If you've joined us for many episodes before, we're glad you decided to come back to us. And speaking of those who come back to us, I want to take a moment and shout out the Apple review of the week. And this is an individual who left an Apple review. And typically we go through and do one a week, depending on if I forget some weeks, and then I might have to come back around and do two in a week. But this one comes from Dr. V. Doe. She went on to say, "This show was so informational and inspirational at the same time. I listened to it as I was exercising. It was like music to my ears. Keep up the good work, Jonathan. I can't wait to listen to many more awesome episodes." Thank you, Dr. Vicky. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us while you also get fit. And if you haven't taken the time to listen to Dr. Vicky Doe's fitness show, because she has great content, she has amazing guests, and she makes sure that she brings the fire to give you information that's really applicable and also helps you around the areas of your health, around the areas of fitness, and just helping improve your lifestyle. So I would encourage you to check her out. So earlier this week, I began to listen to a few different podcasts. And as I began to listen to them, I realized that in their topic, they discuss purpose. And I believe purpose is an extremely relevant topic in our day, as well as when people ask you, what's your why? And they begin to address or unpack that particular area. So today I wanted to come to you with the Purpose-Driven Life episode. Yes, sir. The Purpose-Driven Life. And speaking about purpose now, it just makes sense for us to go ahead and just define it so that we all have a clear understanding of what purpose specifically is per this definition, which I found via Google. The first definition is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. The second one is have as one's intention or objective. So looking at the definition of purpose, it means that an individual is created for a specific thing, a specific area, a specific field, a specific topic, a specific task. It's individualized according to the definition for purpose. So I want to pose the question to you. What do you think you were created for? I really want you to take a second and think about that. What's that one thing that you get a jolt of energy every time you do it? What is it? What makes you most joyful when you're in the midst of doing this particular activity, this particular thing, this particular task? Like if you could choose one thing to make a conscious decision to do this for the rest of your life, what would it be? Because you all know, for me, there's no secret. If you didn't know, for me, mine would be speaking. And it specifically started around 2016, May 20th, in the basement of a church in Dallas, Texas. I was a part of this program called Vox. And Vox is just Greek for voice, right? And during this time, I began to share my story. Earlier that week, I was trying to prepare, writing out the message. And I was like, no, this is not going to work. writing out another message. I was like, no, it's not going to work. This was the first time that I actually spoke before people, about 3 or 4 or 5 individuals. I was extremely nervous. It was dim in the basement. My hands, of course, were sweaty. Arms weak. Mom spaghetti. He's nervous already. No. Okay, I was nervous, but I didn't have Mom spaghetti on my shirt. However, just thinking about going back to that time and now looking where we've come at this point in time in my life, 2 years later, facing some struggle, facing some time accruing debt, wanting to speak, facing some time accruing debt, investing into my business, facing some time investing more money so that I can get a coach, investing more money so I can buy a camera, investing more money so I can get a laptop, investing more money so I can get a microphone for my podcast. All of these things began to accrue, and it took a level of investment into my purpose for me to ultimately see fruit from my labor. Sometimes I think when we talk about purpose, I think sometimes we might not realize that we have to count the cost for our purpose, right? Because you might think, oh, I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing what I'm meant to do. I'm being who I'm meant to be. However, I don't want to invest into it. I've said it before. We invest in shoes. We invest in clothes to make ourselves look good. But now it's time for us to invest into our mind, into our intelligence, into our intellect. Because you can be the best individual that's a speaker. You can be the best author. You can be the best plumber. But there comes a certain level where you don't know everything about this particular task or this particular area. Plumbers invest money to go to school or get the certification. Electricians, same thing. We have to not be blind to the fact that we need to invest in our purpose. If we feel that this is what we're passionate about doing, we feel that this is what we want to do with our lives, it's time for us to level up and invest into our purpose. If you say you want to start a business, invest in getting an accountant. You say you want to start a business and you want to be a videographer, invest in some camera equipment, invest in some training courses, invest in a coach who can help get you to the next level. Because if we do not take the time to invest, even if you're not even investing money, even if you're investing the time to watch videos on YouTube to study, to better understand the process, to better understand how you create a product, to better understand how you market yourself, friends, we have to invest somewhere. You can't cut corners and expect to get the full result or the full fruit from the tree, which you never took the time to plant the seed, to add soil, to add fertilizer, to add water, and then give it time in the sun for it ultimately to grow. So I just want you to begin to think about that, because I was really thinking about that because I began to invest in my purpose, and then there were some speaking engagements that I've done for free. And now I've got to the point where I've become more business minded. And now if I am doing a speaking engagement for free, I'm also looking at how it's going to help create another opportunity for me. I'm also taking the time to look and see, is this even feasible for me to do this presentation here? If it's not, then I won't do it. And now at this point, I've been able to create a level to where now I can demand a fee when I present certain places. I can demand a fee when I present out of state. I can demand a fee when I go to certain schools, work with certain organizations, do different things like that. So I want you just to begin to examine what you think your purpose is. But by doing this, I want to give you just 3 simple steps or 3 instructions, 3 words to think about. The first thing would be identify something that you would like to do more of. So I said I spoke at that church. I enjoyed doing it, so then I wanted to take more time. For number 1, I want you to figure out, what is your what? So the first word, just put what. What do I want to find more of? Or what do I want to do more? I want to do more of what? Question mark. Second, that thing that you have fun or you realize you have fun doing. Mine was, I had fun doing it because I was speaking to individuals at the church. The next engagement I did, I was speaking to kids or youth. The who. Your purpose is serving who? Question mark. So we got the what. We got the who. Now I want you to ask yourself when. I am going to start actively striving to put in more experience when. And I would encourage you not to take too long on the when, because there is time. All right, scratch that. My coach says you got time, but you don't got time. You don't have time to waste trying to think and make the perfect plan for you to do this. My dad always says you have to build it as you're flying. So I would encourage you to hop in there, immerse yourself, and then figure out the details later, because that's how we have to ultimately get to the next level in our life, through experience. So identify what's that thing you want to do more of. Identify who will be the individuals you're serving. And then lastly, when are you going to get more experience? All right, let's go ahead and do those things. And I think this is a great time just to shout it out. If you all happen to be following us on Twitter, I would love to connect with you. Just shoot me a tweet. Jonathan J Speaks on Twitter. Jonathan J Speaks. Use the hashtag SYSP. And then from there, I would love to tweet you back and further connect with you. And once you identify that potential area that could be your purpose, you have to keep chipping away at it. Watching videos on YouTube, reading books about it, listening to the podcast that's helping you in that area of passion, or something that will ultimately help you improve this specific niche. Maybe storytelling. Listen to storytelling podcasts. We have to begin to be intentional about what we apply into our minds. We have to be intentional about the books that we read. We have to be intentional about the articles that we check out. We have to be intentional about questions we ask to our mentors, to our spiritual advisors, to people in our lives, so ultimately we can grow and cultivate this one area. How does that sound to you, friends? Is that cool? Can we do that? Can we? Cool. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the What Are You Listening To segment. This is the segment where I like to share specific podcasts that I've been checking out, listening to. And also, this is the area where podcasts that have inspired me, or sometimes even encourage the topic of the day or the week. So therefore, I want to share them with you so you have the opportunity to check them out, listen to them, and get a feel for how I came up with today's topic. The first podcast is the Unspoken Words podcast. And this is with Becky with the good hair. What's going on, Becky? Shout out to you. Her episode 14, she was talking about purpose. She had on a really dope poet, and he began to unpack a poem just addressing purpose and discussing what that really means to him. And Becky began to ask him, how did he get to this stage? How did he address his purpose? So I would encourage you to check that out. She always has on an artist, not always, but typically has on an artist who does a poem, and then she goes into the topic. It's a really unique podcast, and I'm here for it all. Becky, keep doing it. I'm rocking with you. I'm vibing with you, and definitely enjoy the Unspoken Words podcast, episode 14. Check that out. And also wanted to give a shout out to Crystal Clear with the Crystal Clear podcast. The episode that I just listened to this past week is entitled Selfish with a Purpose. She began to tell us that we need to be selfish with our purpose and ultimately watch how we allow people to use our time, and letting us know that sometimes it's okay to be selfish. Based on the world that we grow up in, people tell us that that's not okay in any stretch of the word, even though that's a false statement, because we need to be selfish sometimes. Self-care. Hello. We have to find a way to make sure that we are accounted for and that people value us, they value our time, and ultimately value our purpose. So check out the Crystal Clear podcast and Unspoken Words. And you know how we do. If you check it out, make sure you leave a review. Leave them a review. Subscribe to their podcast. Give them 5 stars. And then make sure to write in a helpful review, because they're pumping out great content. And as creatives and as individuals who just are adding value to the world, I would encourage you to write them a review, give them a word of encouragement, because sometimes it's not always the easiest to live in your purpose, but you do see those little rays of light. You do see those areas that tell you to keep on going. So I would just challenge you to do that today. And now we're going to go ahead and get to my favorite segment of the week. This is the winner circle of the week. This individual who we're inducting today, she's the head women's basketball coach at Life Pacific College out in California. She's the CEO and founder of Be Better You. She's none other than Coach Brianna E. Williams. Let's give it up for Coach Bree. Just a little bit about Coach Bree, a quick rundown. The quote that I found on her website, it says that we all have dreams, goals, visions, and my purpose is to support, encourage, inspire, empower those around me to reach their ultimate purpose in life. My heart is to help others transform their lives while being obedient to the call God has given me for my life. Coach Bree is one of my good sisters. Coach Bree is probably one of the most selfless individuals that I know. She speaks with power. She speaks with conviction. She speaks with pure passion. If you do not know Coach Bree, I'm going to leave her information down in the show notes. You need to connect with her. She drops video content at least weekly where she's speaking to the individuals that she coaches, or she's speaking to some youth at a church, or she's speaking at a college somewhere. But she always is very intentional with her message and very driven and deliberate with the words that she shares. So I would encourage you to connect with Coach Bree because she adds value through students by coaching, through mentoring, through serving. Servant leadership is her life. So connect with Coach Bree and make sure that you get some of that good content that she's pumping out because she is just a dope individual. One more time, can we give it up for Coach? And friends, we're about to bring this episode to a close. We have the quote of the week, but just before we get there, I also want to do this quick drop. If you have not checked us out, we have released a Speak Your Success app. It's available in the iTunes store. It's also available in the Android market. Plain and simply, this allows you to support the Speak Your Success podcast because we do have expenses as far as for equipment, as far as for production and different areas like that. So if you would like to support the Speak Your Success podcast, I would encourage you to go ahead and purchase the app. I made the app $4.99 just so it's really affordable for you and also just so that we can continue to fund the podcast and continue to add value to you ultimately so that you can be better in your life, not just in your business, but encourage you, empower you, and engage you in all areas of your life so that you can be in the best position to live your purpose and ultimately serve other people. So we'd encourage you to check that out. And we appreciate those individuals who have already made their purchases. A lot of people have hit me up, said, John, I love the app. It's dope. So go ahead and check that out. If you're not in an area where you can afford the app or you don't want to take that route, we would also just encourage you to support us by way of leaving an Apple review. You can just go on iTunes, type in Speak Your Success Podcast, pull it up, scroll down to the bottom after you subscribe, give us 5 stars if you like, and then just write some encouraging words. What did you like about the show? Did you like the feature? And also, if you would like us to feature guests on the podcast, I would encourage you to begin to DM me. Who would you like me to interview? And then we can begin to address that and unpack that and see who we can get on the show. That sound cool, family? Excellent. And now we're going to get to the quote of the week. This is from Inky Johnson. And the quote of the week reads, adversity will reveal who you really are. Inky Johnson with that word. I was listening to a lot of his content earlier this week, and I began to think that in our purpose, we will face a lot of adversity. We also will see a lot of success. However, we just have to know and address the adversity when it comes. But after that, we have to get back up. We have to dust our knees off, and we have to begin to move forward. Inky began to say in another one of his video presentations, every time he sees adversity, he addresses it as, wow, this is a great opportunity for me to grow. So how will you address adversity in your life? Will you get down, say, poor me, this sucks, life's terrible? Or will you get up And will you say, this is an opportunity for me to grow. Let me walk in this. Let me move forward in this. Let me grow in this. Right? Be encouraged today, friends, to speak your success, believe in your greatness, and continue to create the life and business of your dreams. Why would you want to live any other way?